On the news, court restrains Adams Oshiomhole from functioning as APC national chairman. House of Reps denies suspending plenary for 2 weeks over coronavirus outbreak. And Iran rejects U.S. aid offer to combat COVID-19. A warm welcome to News Now. I am Fidelia Aguncha. The Federal Territory High Court has granted an order of interim injunction stopping Adams Oshiomhole from parading himself as the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress APC. Justice Danlami Senchi, who granted the injunction on Wednesday, said that political parties must be bound by their constitution, and having been suspended by his ward, Oshiomhole is restrained from functioning as the national chairman of the APC pending the hearing and determination of the substantive suit. The judge then fixed hearing for April 7 and 8, 2020. The Edo chapter of the All Progressive Congress in November 2019 suspended Oshiomhole for fueling the crisis besieging the party. Also, protesters have been demanding the removal of Oshiomhole for failing in his duties of providing quality leadership for the party. The called APC leader dismissed, tagging the group a non-existing one. Well, Nigeria's Health Minister Osage Ehanire has appeared before the leadership of the National Assembly to explain measures put in place to contain the spread of the coronavirus COVID-19. Addressing the lawmakers, Ehanire noted that there is no new case of the infection in Nigeria. He also dismissed reports that the Director General of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, Chikwe Ihekwazu, has been quarantined over fears that he might have contracted the virus while on a World Health Organization mission to China. Ehanire revealed that Nigeria is constantly relating with the Chinese government to ensure all of its citizens are in good condition. He also explained why Nigeria has refused to ban flights from affected countries from entering the country.
With regard to our own second line of defense, which is the NCDC, Nigeria Center for Disease Control, if any case is suspicious, we take a test and they confirm. And if there's confirmation, they are sent straight away to an isolation center. Because of the strategy we are using, we have to have isolation centers around the city where the airport is. And that's why we have one in Lagos, we have one in Kano, we have one in Abuja, which is under development still, and then in Port Harcourt. But the level of preparation you need for such isolation is not the same as you might need for many other isolations. There's a chicken pox or any other kind of isolation. So it's also a special category. With regard to personal protective equipment and the issues about infection prevention and control, the NCDC has issued guidelines on how to prepare and how to go along with all the protocols. There is no direct contact, airline contact between Nigeria and any of these high-burden countries except to Italy. But even the man who came didn't come through Italy. He came through another country to get here. So all the airlines coming to this country will stop somewhere. And that place where they stop, usually they are screened also. Because if you go into Ethiopia now, you'll be screened. Before you now can now, if you have any problem, they put you aside. So before you can now go into the next flight. So we have a layer of protection that you are screened in a place before you come. So the person has to be totally, really symptom-free to arrive here. There's no direct flight, so we can't ban flights because there's none anyway. The only flight we could ban would be Italy, which the WHO has not really recommended.
Meanwhile, a lawmaker at the House of Representatives has debunked reports that the Green Chamber suspended plenary for 2 weeks over the coronavirus outbreak. In a chat with TV360 Nigeria, Oyo Rep member Akin Alabi clarified that though a lawmaker proposed the suspension of plenary over the outbreak of the virus, the motion was not approved by the House.
No, it's a false, it's a fake story. It's fake news. We did not take a break. We sat today, and yesterday when we adjourned, We adjourned till 11 a.m. today. So if you look at the votes and proceedings, which is like the minutes of plenary, you will see that we adjourned yesterday to resume at 11 a.m. today. So it was fake news. It was done by some mischievous people because there was discussion, consideration that if it gets worse, that the House might have to go back, each member will have to go back to their constituencies, one, to be able to sensitize their constituents about this, and also to go on oversight functions to the relative bodies and agencies in the health sector and even travel sector to be able to oversee things to ensure that the disease does not, the virus does not spread. We have to remember that sitting at plenary is about 10% of 20% of the work lawmakers do.
And in a bid to contain the spread of the coronavirus, ministers and head of agencies were subjected to thorough screening for COVID-19 before gaining access to the State House in Abuja for the Federal Executive Council meeting today. The cabinet members were screened twice upon arrival by health officials who checked their body temperature and gave them hand sanitizers. The first screening took place as they alighted from their cars and entered the main reception to the villa, while the second screening happened at the entrance to the Executive Council chambers before they finally entered the venue for the commencement of proceedings. Residents of Damboa local government area of Borno State were thrown into panic on Wednesday as troops of the Nigerian Army clashed with Boko Haram insurgents who attempted to attack a military base. The insurgents attacked the base, shooting sporadically, but were countered with stiff resistance as troops on the ground responded with superior firepower. According to sources, the exchange lasted for about an hour until the insurgents retreated towards the Sambisa Forest axis, which is just on the fringes of Damboa local government area. 4 soldiers and 2 militiamen were reportedly killed in that face-off. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, says bandits in northwest Nigeria are Boko Haram and ISWAP members. He made the declaration in Kaduna State on Wednesday during a meeting with top police commanders over recent attacks in the state. The IGP stated that the reinforced task needs new war strategies geared towards eliminating the bandits from their hideouts in the nooks and crannies of the zone. The IGP's meeting with top police commanders follows Sunday's attack by bandits in 5 villages in Giwa and Igabi local government areas of Kaduna State, where no fewer than 51 people were killed and several others injured by bandits. The Department of State, U.S. Department of State has announced a reward of $7 million, and that's 2.5 billion naira, for anyone with credible information that can lead to the arrest of Abubakar Shekau, leader of the Boko Haram insurgent group. The Reward for Justice Program, the counterterrorism rewards program of the U.S. Department of State's Diplomatic Security Service, disclosed this in a tweet on Tuesday. The U.S. had also placed a bounty of the same sum on Shekau in June 2013. In February 2018, the Nigerian government also placed a 3 million naira bounty on the insurgent leader. Shekau took over the leadership of the insurgent group in 2010 following the killing of Mohammed Yusuf, its former leader. The government has on 3 separate occasions claimed to have killed Shekau, but the Boko Haram leader has resurfaced on several videos to show that he is still alive. Shekau is currently number 8 on the list of the most wanted terrorists by the United States. Still on security matters, the Nigerian Army says it has partnered with the State of Israel to enhance its fight against insurgency, banditry, and other forms of criminality. Israeli ambassador to Nigeria, Shimon Ben Shoshan, during a courtesy visit to the office of the Chief of Staff, Army Staff, Lieutenant General Chuka Buratai, assured Nigeria of his country's support in the fight against terrorism. The ambassador, who recalled the outstanding relationship that exists between both countries, which now spans 60 years, commended the Nigerian Army's gallantry in the fight against the Boko Haram insurgents in the northeast. Meanwhile, the use of simulation technology for training of military personnel is a key component of modern approaches to combat emerging security threats in Nigeria and the world at large. Now, this is according to the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, at the opening ceremony of the maiden training on simulation decision-making managers for battle simulation decision managers in Abuja, represented by the Chief of Training and Operations, Major General Enobong Udo. The Army boss says the training became necessary in view of global trends in simulation-based military training.
The Land Forces Simulation Center, Nigeria, is living up to expectation by focusing on strategies to fast-track its development. One of those desirable strategies is collaboration with relevant outfits and organizations with wealth of experience in simulation technologies, just like the Massa Group. The collaboration with Massa Group of France to organize this training is commendable, and I'm convinced that the objectives of this all-important training will be achieved. I therefore enjoin all participants to pay utmost interest and make significant use of the period to maximize the gains associated with this training.
The objective of this training is to ensure that participants are taken through the rudiments of battle simulation technology, enhancing capacities in area of doctrinal research, operational analysis using the Massa simulated wargaming for operational readiness doctrine software. I'm also confident that the training will set a pace for driving tenacity in the use of simulation systems to meet the peculiarities of Nigerian Army operational training and planning. Added to this, participants trained will form a credible database for Nigerian Army simulation managers that will be required to closely liaise with Land Forces Simulation Center on all simulation exercises of their respective formations.
And away from security matters, the Nigerian Senate is seeking the establishment of a commission to prosecute electoral offenders in Nigeria. The National Electoral Offences Commission bill, which passed second reading on Wednesday's plenary, was sponsored by Abubakar Kyari of Borno North. Kyari said the eventual passage of the bill will help tackle rigging, vote buying, waste of resources, and other offences that weaken Nigeria's electoral process. On his part, President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, called for stiffer punishment for perpetrators of electoral violence.
INEC's open failure to prosecute electoral offenders has helped to sustain a reign of systemic election rigging, electoral violence, and manipulation. Disenfranchisement of the voters, votes buying, disinformation, ballot stuffing, voters register manipulation, declaration of false election results, destruction of invalidation of valid ballots, tampering with election systems, and voter impersonation. This has itself fueled patriotic calls for INEC to be divested of that statutory duty. It is widely agreed that this duty is an undue burden on INEC. It distracts INEC from its core constitutional mandate of conducting elections. And the answer is in the establishment of a commission charged with this important duty.
I think that when we get to the public hearing and then all the other people come into it, we will now need to know the distinction between a commission and a tribunal specially made just to try electoral offenses.
Constitutional amendments and alterations will be made to that effect to ensure that the electoral processes and procedures are very well protected, that Nigerians, when they vote, those votes are genuine votes, that we stop people who abuse the process either because they are in power or they have money. I believe that it's out of patriotism that when some of our colleagues were making their contributions, they emphasized on having very stiff penalties. I recall that Senator Alero and so many others felt that the penalties must be stiff. I agree. The penalties must be such punitive enough that people would not like to indulge in this.
The federal government has been charged to adopt legislations that will promote whistleblowing in regulatory and revenue-generating agencies. Stakeholders in Abuja, the nation's capital, gave this charge at a workshop on entrenching whistleblowing in ministries, departments and agencies. They stressed that Nigeria cannot win the war against corruption if all available measures are not adopted in fighting the menace.
Protection for whistleblowers is at the heart of any whistleblowing policy or legislation. As I mentioned earlier, if whistleblowers don't feel protected, and protection takes different dimensions. It could include relocation, financial reward, change of identity, and so on. It's really, really important, and that's why we're pushing for the passage of a whistleblower bill so that Nigerian citizens will be confident that when they provide tips for anti-corruption agencies, when they blow whistle, that their identity will be protected.
The present National Assembly is more receptive, and I believe that they will pass it. In fact, now that you've mentioned it, if we are officially informed, we will contact them and put pressure on them to pass it.
We moved quickly to put in place a national law on whistleblowing, but at the same time that the federal government and all those charged with the responsibility of implementing those laws do indeed do everything possible and necessary to get those laws enforced.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has rearranged Ismaila Mustafa, aka Mamfa, before Justice Mohammed Liman of a federal high court in Lagos for alleged 32.9 billion naira fraud. Mamfa was first arraigned alongside his company, Ismailov Ventures, on November 25, 2019, on a 14-count charge bordering on fraud, money laundering, and running a foreign exchange business without the authorization of the central bank. The defendant had pleaded not guilty to the charge and was granted bail in the sum of 100 million naira with one surety in like sum. At the resumed sitting today, counsel for the EFCC, Rotimi Oyedepo, informed the court of a second amended charge against the defendant and also urged the court to allow a fresh plea by the defendant. The amended 22-count charge was thereafter read to the defendant, who again pleaded not guilty. The case has now been adjourned until March 18, 2020 for continuation of trial. Our news now will continue in just a moment. Don't go away.
That the electoral outcome was born, and Nigerians have reacted to that.
Boko area of Lagos as early as 7 a.m. Some minutes past the incident has been managed.
Welcome back. Let's now turn to the business side of the news. Onya Adekunle is standing by with details.
Thank you, Fidelia. President Muhammadu Buhari has said Nigeria will keep any agreement it reaches with its neighbors on the reopening of the country's short land borders. A tripartite committee comprising Nigeria, Benin Republic, and Niger Republic is currently working on how to resolve the issues that led to the partial closure of the borders by Nigeria. President Buhari said that when the report of the committee was ready and agreed on by all the parties, Nigeria would implement it. He spoke on Tuesday in Abuja when he received the outgoing president of the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, Bashir Mamanifo, and his successor, George Donko, at the presidential villa. President Buhari told his visitors that so far Nigeria has made gains from the border closure, justifying the decision to take the action. And Nigeria has overtaken South Africa as the biggest economy in Africa as the latter enters its second recession in 2 years. South Africa's gross domestic product shrank by 1.4% in the fourth quarter of 2019, following a revised 0.8% contraction in the third quarter, and that's according to data from Statistics South Africa. Nigeria's GDP grew by 2.55% in the fourth quarter of 2019, which is its highest quarterly growth since the recession of 2016. The country's economic growth rose by 2.27% in 2019, compared to a growth rate of 1.91% in 2018. We'll take a break here and return with Stock Market Review.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the go-to app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Today, the Nigeria Stock Exchange won an approval to become a public limited liability company. The NSE went public with an authorized share capital of 1.25 billion naira. That's consisting of 2.5 billion ordinary shares at 50 kobo per share. And on the floor of the market today, the bulls continued on its recovery, which began in previous session, with bargain hunters pushing the market cap of listed equities from 13.6 trillion in previous session to 13.7 trillion naira today. The all-share index also rose by 0.61% to close at 26,415 basis points. And the best performers today were Nigeria Breweries, USCN, as well as Access Bank and First Bank of Nigeria Holdings, all making gains. And First Bank closed at 5 naira 65 kobo per share. But conversely, it's actually we see the losers chart has flipped. And what I mean by that is that some of the stocks which were making gains while the market was consistently in the reds are now dominating the losers chart. Adovan Africa Prudential are the top losers, shedding 1 naira 70 kobo and 5 kobo respectively in their share prices. Bad day as well also for investors in the stocks of NACO as well as WAPCO. And moving on now, in summary, a total turnover of 307.7 million shares valued at 2.8 billion naira exchanged hands today in 4,419 deals. And moving on to the foreign scene, Nikkei made slight gains today, joining FTSE and the Dow, which continued on their gaining streak for the second consecutive day. And that's it on business. It's now back to Fidelia for the rest of the news.
Oh, thank you very much, Owen, for that update. Let's now move to the foreign scene. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani on Wednesday dismissed a U.S. offer to help the Islamic Republic fight its coronavirus outbreak, charging that vicious American sanctions are depriving the country of medicine. Iran has scrambled to halt the rapid spread of the virus that has claimed 92 lives out of 2,922 confirmed infections in the past 2 weeks. U.S. President Donald Trump had on Saturday said he was ready to aid Iran with the virus outbreak if the Islamic Republic asked for assistance. Washington pulled out of a landmark nuclear deal and reimposed crippling sanctions on Tehran in 2018. Super Eagles coach Gernot Rohr has listed his 24-man squad for this month's 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against Sierra Leone. Nigeria will host the Leon Stars at the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Asaba on Friday, March 27, before flying to Freetown to confront the Stars at the Siaka Stevens Stadium in the return leg 4 days later. Among those listed are Leicester City striker Kelechi Iheanacho, Spanish-based duo Samuel Chukwueze and Ramon Aziz. Others included on the list are Alexander Iwobi, Victor Osimhen, Moses Simon and Wilfred Ndidi. Victory in both games will virtually guarantee Nigeria of a spot at the 33rd Africa Cup of Nations games scheduled for Cameroon early next year. Well, Nigeria secured bronze at the just concluded 2020 Africa Junior and Cadet Fencing Championship in Ghana, but the management of the Nigeria Fencing Federation is insisting that the country can do better if they receive more support from the government. Chukwuemeka Okoro, coach of the Nigeria fencing team, said this during a chat with TV360 Nigeria. He also advocated for more awareness campaign on the sports to attract more participants.
Well, the tournament in Ghana was awesome. You know, we were there. We had 6 representatives. That is, you know, the kids with us. We had a bronze medal as well this time around. So, if you could see it, the Nigerian team participated in the men's team foil event. You know, for the first time. And look at it, we were there mixing things with the big dogs. Last year we were not there, but this year we really fought. 4th place is not bad. We were knocked out by South Africa, but it just shows our level, and South Africa is doing really well. And I think if Nigeria works a lot more harder, you know, and we get the support we need, we should be there, up there. 4th position is not bad. In the next 2 years, we should be, you know, sitting at the pinnacle, doing good things for, you know, Africa and Nigeria as well. The challenges we face here in Nigeria, as you've said, we are fairly new. Like we're 8 to 9 years in the sport now, and if you look at more advanced countries that are doing really well at the sport, we could see that they're doing really great. But Nigeria has to, you know, the government has to support in its own way so that we can get the best out of it. If you look at our kids that featured at the championship, we could see progress over the years. But the place we suffer right now is the areas of funding, support, facilities, and, you know, just about different things to make the sport, you know, what it is. So at the moment, we need support from the government, the sports ministry as well, in order to let this sport, you know, get around schools. That's the basic, that's where I think it should start from. It has to get across to a whole lot more schools, so a whole lot more kids are aware about the sport, and I guess we can move forward from there.
And that's it on News Now. Many thanks for watching. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Bye for now.